Every king falls, but this ghost has never been defeated. The ultimate predator of the skies. Invisible to radar and fast as lightning, it breaks the mathematics of enemy survival. But perfection is fragile. A single human error can destroy this shield of billions. Is the king finally vulnerable? The secret of the fighter jet that no one can shoot down begins.
At 30,000 feet, the air is thin, cold, and deceptively empty. On a standard ground-based early warning radar screen, the sector appears clear. There are no transponder signals, no primary returns, and no alerts from the integrated air defense system. But there is a ghost in the sky. It is moving at 1,500 miles per hour, slicing through the stratosphere with a kinetic energy that could level a city block. Yet its electronic footprint is smaller than a honeybee. This is the F-22 Raptor. It is not merely a fighter jet. It is a $334 million insurance policy designed to ensure that the United States never has to fight a fair fight. Since its inception, the Raptor has represented the absolute peak of human engineering, a machine so advanced that the US government banned its export to even its closest allies. It was built to solve a singular, terrifying problem. How do you survive and dominate in an airspace where every sensor, missile, and satellite is programmed to kill you? To understand the Raptor, you have to understand the math of survival. In modern aerial combat, the kill chain consists of 4 stages: find, fix, track, and engage. Most aircraft try to break this chain at the end, using flares or electronic jamming once a missile is already in the air. The F-22 breaks the chain at the very beginning. By the time an enemy pilot's radar manages to find a Raptor, they have likely already been targeted by an AIM-120 AMRAAM fired from miles away. But being invisible is only half the battle. This aircraft was engineered to operate in the post-stall regime, performing maneuvers that seemingly defy the laws of aerodynamics. It can sit on its own tail, pivot in midair using thrust vectoring nozzles, and accelerate to Mach 1.8 without ever engaging its afterburners, a feat known as supercruise. This capability allows the Raptor to strike with the speed of a bullet while remaining thermally cold compared to its peers, leaving enemy infrared sensors searching for a heat signature that simply isn't there. However, this dominance comes at a staggering cost. For every hour the Raptor spends in the sky, it requires over 40 hours of specialized maintenance on the ground. Its skin is coated in a delicate radar-absorbent material, RAM, that can be degraded by simple rain or humidity. It is a temperamental predator, a high-maintenance apex fighter that remains the benchmark for air superiority, even decades after its first flight. In this deep dive, we are going inside the cockpit, through the jet intakes, and into the classified avionics suites of the F-22. We will analyze the engineering breakthroughs that made it possible, the strategic shifts it forced upon America's rivals, and the terrifying reality of what it's like to face a ghost that carries a lethal sting. Why was production halted after only 195 units? And in an age of hypersonic missiles and AI-driven drones, is the F-22 still the king of the skies? Or is it a relic of a dying era of manned flight? The answers lie in the physics of stealth and the brutal reality of modern dogfighting. If you're into real military technology and deep analysis like this, subscribe now. This channel is all about breaking down the most powerful machines ever built. And before we continue, comment your country below. I want to see where this audience is from. To the untrained eye, the F-22 Raptor is a work of art, a sleek, aggressive silhouette of titanium and carbon fiber. But to a radar technician, it is a nightmare of mathematics. To understand why this aircraft is invisible, we have to stop thinking about seeing with light and start thinking about seeing with radio waves. In standard aerial warfare, a radar dish on the ground or in an enemy jet sends out a pulse of electromagnetic energy. This energy travels through the air, hits an object, and bounces back to the receiver. This return signal is what generates a blip on the screen. The strength of that return is known as the radar cross-section, RCS. A B-52 Stratofortress has an RCS of about 100 square meters. It glows like a sun on a radar screen. A standard F-15 Eagle has an RCS of about 25 square meters. The F-22 Raptor has a radar cross-section of approximately 0.0001 square meters. How is this physically possible for a machine with a 44-foot wingspan? The answer lies in planform alignment. If you look at the Raptor from above, you will notice that the leading and trailing edges of the wings and tailplane are all set at exactly the same angles. This isn't for aesthetics. In a conventional jet, curved surfaces and mismatched angles scatter radar waves in every direction, ensuring that at least some of those waves return to the enemy's receiver. The Raptor's geometry is designed to trap and redirect waves. When a radar pulse hits the F-22, the flat, angled surfaces reflect the energy away at sharp, precise angles. Anywhere except back to the source. It's like throwing a ball at a slanted wall. It's never going to bounce back into your hand. But geometry is only the first layer of the shield. The second is the radar absorbent material, RAM. This is a highly classified coating, often described as an iron ball paint, that contains tiny particles of carbonyl iron or ferrite. When radar waves hit this material, the electromagnetic energy is converted into heat through molecular friction. Essentially, the skin of the Raptor eats the radar pulse before it can reflect. This creates a terrifying tactical reality. To an S-300 or S-400 surface-to-air missile system, the Raptor doesn't look like a multi-role fighter. It looks like a sparrow or even a large insect. By the time the radar is powerful enough to distinguish the Raptor from background noise, the aircraft is already within weapons release range. However, with this geometry of silence is a double-edged sword. Every seam on the aircraft, every door for the landing gear, every panel for the engines is a potential leak. If a single panel is misaligned by a fraction of a millimeter, it creates a corner reflector that can spike the RCS and give the aircraft away. This is why the Raptor's maintenance is so grueling. Technicians must use specialized tape and fillers to ensure the skin is perfectly smooth. This is where the system begins to push against the limits of human capability, the pursuit of perfection in an imperfect environment. But even with its radar invisibility, there was one thing the designers couldn't hide: the heat. In the world of fighter jets, speed usually comes with a massive penalty, a giant glowing tail of fire. Standard fourth-generation jets like the F-16 or the Su-27 require afterburners to reach supersonic speeds. Afterburning involves spraying raw fuel directly into the exhaust stream, creating a massive boost in thrust, but also generating an enormous infrared IR signature. To an infrared search and track IRST sensor, an afterburning jet is a beacon that can be seen from over 100 miles away, regardless of how stealthy its radar shape is. The F-22 Raptor solved this with a capability called supercruise. The Raptor is powered by two Pratt & Whitney F119-PW-100 turbofans. These are not just engines. They are the most powerful fighter engines ever produced at the time of their debut, each capable of generating 35,000 pounds of thrust. Because of the extreme efficiency and compression ratios of the F119, the Raptor can maintain a speed of Mach 1.8 without using afterburners. Why does this matter strategically? It changes the kinetic energy of the entire battlefield. A missile fired from a Raptor at Mach 1.8 starts with significantly more momentum than a missile fired from a jet at subsonic speeds. This extends the no-escape zone of the Raptor's weapons. It can strike from further away and flee faster than anything chasing it. More importantly, because it isn't using afterburners, the exhaust stays relatively cool. The Raptor features unique, flat, rectangular nozzles rather than the round ones found on almost every other jet. These nozzles are designed to flatten the exhaust plume, mixing it rapidly with the cold ambient air of the high atmosphere. This dissipates the heat signature almost instantly. But then there is the friction problem. At Mach 1.8, the very air molecules hitting the nose and leading edges of the wings cause kinetic heating. Even without the engine heat, the plane starts to glow in the long-wave infrared spectrum. To counter this, the F-22 utilizes its fuel as a heat sink. Before the fuel goes to the engines, it is circulated through the leading edges of the wings to soak up the heat generated by air friction, keeping the external skin temperature as low as possible. This engineering is what makes the Raptor a total stealth platform. It isn't just invisible to radar, it is a ghost to heat seekers. But what happens when the ghost is finally cornered? What happens when a fight becomes a knife fight in a phone booth? This is where the Raptor stops being a ghost and starts being a monster. Quick question. Do you think systems like this still dominate modern warfare? Or are they being outpaced by drones? Comment your opinion below. I read every comment and it helps shape future videos. In conventional aviation, a fighter jet flies because air passes over its control surfaces, the ailerons, elevators, and rudder. If the air stops, or if the angle of attack is too steep, the airflow separates from the wing. The fighter jet stalls and falls like a stone. But the F-22 Raptor doesn't follow the rules of traditional aerodynamics. It uses a technology called two-dimensional thrust vectoring. While other aircraft rely solely on air to turn, the Raptor uses the brute force of its Pratt & Whitney F119 engines. The F-22's exhaust nozzles can tilt 20 degrees up or down almost instantaneously, which this allows the pilot to direct the engine thrust to force the nose of the aircraft in one direction, even when the wings no longer have lift. The result is what pilots call post-stall maneuverability. Imagine the Raptor in close combat. It can pull its nose up to a 60-degree angle of attack, practically sitting on its own tail while continuing to fly forward. It can execute the famous J-turn maneuver, spinning on its own axis in the air to point its nose and its missiles at a pursuer in seconds. In practical terms, if an enemy pilot manages to get close enough for a visual duel, they are facing an opponent who can change direction faster than the human eye can follow. However, this extreme agility introduces an immense structural load. The Raptor's flight control computer makes hundreds of adjustments per second to ensure that the maneuvers do not disintegrate the aircraft's titanium airframe. It's a constant dance between destruction and dominance. But in U.S. Air Force doctrine, if you've ever used thrust vectoring, something has gone wrong. The Raptor's objective is to kill before the enemy even knows the war has begun. But how does it see without being seen? In the past, fighter pilots had to look at multiple screens, one for radar, another for threat warnings, another for navigation. In the heat of combat, processing all that information was overwhelming. The F-22 solved this with sensor fusion. The pilot doesn't see raw data. He sees an integrated image of the battlefield. The heart of this system is the AN/APG-77 radar. Unlike older radars that move a physical antenna, the AESA uses thousands of small modules that emit beams of energy independently. This allows the Raptor to do something revolutionary, LPI, low probability of intercept. It can jump between frequencies so quickly that enemy fighter warning systems confuse the radar signal with background noise. The Raptor is looking at the enemy, but the enemy's screen remains silent. Coupled with this is the ALR-94 system, a set of passive sensors spread throughout the fuselage. It allows the F-22 to detect enemy radar emissions from hundreds of kilometers away, identifying the type of aircraft and its danger without even turning on its own radar. It's the equivalent of hearing someone's breathing in a dark room while you remain in absolute silence. The strategic advantage is devastating. The F-22 practices the first look, first shot, first kill philosophy. It can identify a formation of enemy fighters, designate targets for each of its missiles, and fire, all while opposing pilots are still discussing over the radio whether there's anything strange on the radar. However, there is a physical limit to this technology. To maintain stealth, all sensors and, more importantly, all weapons must be hidden. And this is where the Raptor's mechanical engineering faces its greatest precision challenge. This technology seems invincible, but this system had a flaw, one that would be exposed not in the air, but on the ground. And that changed the fate of the entire fleet. For a conventional fighter jet, carrying missiles is simple. They are hung under the wings. But for the F-22 Raptor, a single exposed missile would act as a giant reflector, turning the bronze marmo into a target the size of a Boeing 747 on enemy radar. Lockheed Martin's solution was a masterpiece of mechanical engineering, the internal weapons bays. The Raptor has 3 main bays, 2 lateral bays for short-range AIM-9 X Sidewinder missiles, and a large ventral bay for up to 6 medium-range AIM-120 DAMRAAM missiles. The technical challenge here is not just space, but the physics of launching at supersonic speeds. When the bay doors open at Mach 1.5, the turbulent airflow can prevent the missile from exiting, or, worse, throw it back against the aircraft itself. To solve this, engineers developed hydraulic vertical ejection arms. The missile doesn't just fall, he is violently thrust out of the aircraft in fractions of a second. During that brief moment when the doors are open, the Raptor's radar signature increases dramatically. Therefore, the mechanism was designed to open, fire, and close in less than a second. It's a surgical movement. However, this configuration severely limits payload capacity. While a 4th-generation fighter can carry up to 12 missiles, the Raptor is limited to 8. In a saturation warfare scenario where the enemy has a numerical advantage, the F-22 may simply run out of ammunition before eliminating all threats. It's the eternal trade-off between stealth and brute force. But the Raptor's real enemy isn't the lack of missiles. It's something much more mundane: molecular degradation. This is where operational reality collides with science fiction. The F-22 is undoubtedly the most capable fighter jet in the world, but it's also the most sickly. The system that makes it invisible, radar-absorbing material, RAM, is a chemically complex and physically fragile substance. Unlike the paint on a car or even other jets, the Raptor's skin is composed of layers of polymers infused with metallic particles. This skin is extremely sensitive to humidity, excessive heat, and even air friction at high speeds. After each supersonic flight, the paint can begin to peel or blister. If there's a crack the size of a coin, stealth is compromised. This generates a daunting logistical statistic: 45 hours of maintenance for every 1 hour of flight. The F-22 hangars are not ordinary sheds. They are laboratories with rigorous temperature and humidity control. If the air is too humid, the RAM doesn't cure properly. This means that, in forward operating areas or tropical climates, the Raptor's effectiveness plummets. Furthermore, the cost per flight hour exceeds $60,000 US. Many critics argue that the Raptor is a hangar queen, a weapon too powerful to be used sustainably in a war of attrition. This logistical weakness, coupled with the end of the Cold War, led to the most controversial moment in the history of modern military aviation: the decision to halt production at just 195 units. But did this decision leave the skies vulnerable? Or was the Raptor already preparing the ground for something even darker? This is the tipping point. The Raptor was built to dominate an enemy that disappeared, but now new threats emerge in the East. Can the engineering of the 1990s still compete with 21st century systems? In 2011, the last F-22 Raptor rolled off the Lockheed Martin assembly line in Marietta, Georgia. The Pentagon ended production with only 187 operational aircraft, a fraction of the 750 originally planned. The reason? A mix of astronomical costs, the absence of a worthy rival at the time, and the focus on asymmetric warfare in the Middle East. However, the world has changed. The emergence of the Chinese J-20 and the Russian Su-57 forced the Raptor out of the shadows of development and into the role of active deterrent. But the F-22 faces a generational challenge: its computing architecture. Designed in the 1990s, the Raptor's hardware is like a supercomputer of its time. Powerful, but difficult to update with modern, network-centric warfare protocols. This is where NGAD, Next Generation Air Dominance, comes in. The Raptor will not have a direct successor in the form of a traditional fighter jet. He will be the father of a family of systems. The future of air superiority does not depend on a heroic pilot in a visual duel, but on an invisible platform that coordinates swarms of autonomous drones, loyal wingmen, and fires hypersonic weapons. The F-22's legacy is not only its combat history, which includes the first interception of surveillance balloons in operations in Syria, but the fact that it defined what a fifth-generation fighter jet is. It proved that stealth is not just an accessory, but the basis of all modern survival. The F-22 Raptor remains a flying contradiction. It is the deadliest war machine ever built, but also one of the rarest and most expensive. And it is the result of an era in which physics was pushed to its absolute limits to ensure that no enemy pilot ever saw the face of the one who shot it down. Analyzing the engineering behind its angular surfaces, the controlled heat of its engines, and the silent fusion of its sensors, we realize that the Raptor is more than just an airplane. It is a reminder of absolute technological dominance, While rival nations struggle to replicate what Lockheed Martin achieved 30 years ago, the Raptor continues to patrol the borders of global airspace, a titanium ghost protecting the interests of a superpower. But time is the only enemy that stealth cannot hide. As quantum radar and artificial intelligence evolve, the Raptor's reign may be drawing to a close. However, its influence is etched into every new aerospace project. He changed warfare forever because he taught the world a brutal lesson. On the modern battlefield, if you can be seen, you're already dead. Machines like this continue to redefine the balance of power in modern defense strategy. The story doesn't end here. The dominance of the skies is constantly shifting, and the next chapter may be written by pilotless machines. Comment below. Which military machine should we dissect next? Sixth-generation fighters, nuclear submarines, aircraft carriers, or something even more secret? And don't forget, tell me which country you're watching from. Subscribe now if you want to continue exploring the most advanced military technology on the planet. Until the next mission.